A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillah wa billah wa alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. My Muslim brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah for Islam. Alhamdulillah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us another opportunity to seek nearness to Him. You know, I advise you to taqwa. I advise myself to taqwa. I advise you to make constant istighfar. You know, seek the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I mean, Rasulullah, you know, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was masoom, infallible. And, you know, he sought forgiveness from his Lord, you know, 70 times a day, 100 times a day. You know what I'm saying? The accounts vary, but, you know, it made me cry. Like, really, when I read the Sirat and I learned that, you know, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that he would stand the night in prayer until his ankles swelled. They would swell just from the stand. They asked him, they said, Ya Rasulullah, you know, you're guaranteed paradise. You know, why? You know, why put yourself through? Why do this? Why seek forgiveness? Why do this? Like, you know, you're good. And he said, should I not be a thankful servant? Should I not be a thankful servant? You know, so, you know, the Quran tells us that he's the best of examples. Across the street. The Quran says he's the best of examples, that, you know, if we long for success, that he's the one that we should, you know, emulate. You know, and I bear witness that, you know, he is the mercy to all the worlds. He is the seal of prophets. He is the last messenger. You know, he said the comparison with me and prophethood is like a house that has been built needing only one brick put in place until the house is finished. And, you know, he was that brick, you know, so the house is finished. You know, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he conveyed the message. He conveyed it. I'm so grateful. You know, very difficult, guys, you know, and I feel discouraged sometimes, but even when I feel discouraged, it's my goal to encourage. You know, I don't always understand why things are the way they are, but you know what, I can tell you this, is that whenever I start to feel, you know, bad about myself or bad about my situation, you know, remembering the life of the Prophet ﷺ, remembering, you know, the life of his family and the early companions who suffered with dignity. I mean, this is the truth. I mean, you know, I used to always wonder about, you know, why, you know, these people who were the closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who, you know, lived as if they seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who understood ihsan, who, you know, had khushu in prayer, who, you know, who could get stung by bees during salat and not even notice, who could get hit by arrows during their prayer and not stop the Quranic recitation, who could, you know, what a tremendous generation of people, man. What an excellent form of humanity that they were willing to endure. And what a sickness, too, that was done to these people. Like, I mean, you know, when you think about, you know, Sumaya and Sumaya, I understand she was the first martyr of Islam. May Allah have mercy on her. And, thinking about Ammar bin Yasser and, being tortured and watching his mother, and father, And when you read about the way that they were tortured, it's enough to make your stomach sick, really. Like that people could think of these ways and have these ingenious, creative ways to suffer, rolling people up in leather and wetting it and then putting it in the sun so that it tightens as it dries and it cracks bones. But when you think of Bilal, radiallahu an, and they torture him and put these stones on him and crush him in the desert, and, tell him to renounce, and all he can say is Ahad, 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 Ahad. I feel very guilty when, I pose and I ask you guys for help. I feel very, very guilty. And I feel even more guilty is when I feel sorry for myself because, my position is so difficult, it's so trying, and, I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increases my iman and helps me to use all of this as a way to seek nearness to Him, because I'm not giving up. I will not give up. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahu mulk wa lahu hamd wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I will not give up. I'm going to keep striving, and with the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm not going to deviate. I love this deen, even when I don't always feel all the way accepted or embraced. I love this deen. I love this ummah, and I'm inspired by the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and through the life of the companions, and his Ahlul Bayt, suffering with dignity. And so, having said that, I've asked for help, and I ask after having, done my due diligence and done my best, to, find work, to, I don't want to be a burden on this community ever. That's not what I'm striving for. And I'm not, confusing tawakkul and tawakkul. I'm not confusing the two. You know what I'm saying? I understand that, the best of providers is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm also aware that, having trusted Allah, I have to tie up my camel. But I do also know that, zakat, sadaqah, I do know that this is part of our faith. This is part of our faith. And when I've had it, I've given it. Alhamdulillah. And so I do, if I need help, I'm asking. And, have patience. Make dua for me. I make dua every single day and just pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will, send benefactors into my life to encourage, and, inshallah ta'ala, it'll continue with me being able to encourage and me being able to help, peaks and valleys. Peaks and valleys. I'm convinced of this. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin abdika